Kurt, how many would you say comedians at your level or higher live in Austin?
I don't know. I literally never keep track of the scene, or when people make there's all these channels. There's a cottage industry. Now I don't know who everybody is. Some of them are like losers from Austin who are from like the, I don't know, improv scene, and they're mad. Austin, when there was festivals, there'd be a scene here, but otherwise, until Joe made that club, no, there is no scene. And then they'll live like parasites off of, I hate Joe and I hate Joe's friends. Now, I don't get included in the Rogan sphere. Never see them include you either, because they're trying, it would be inconvenient for their narrative of, Joe's bad and this and that and whatever. But I don't care about the scene. I'm not single. I'm not out trying to bang. I'm not out all night drinking and doing blow and all the shit that some younger comic might do. I hope everybody sucks here except me. I hope there's nothing but bad comment. I'm not saying that's not Austin, but I'm just saying I hope it was like that. So I would never complain. Oh, how many headliners live here? I don't give a shit. I care about me. I'm not an improv guy. I'm a stand-up.
I was just wondering what the scene is like, and
a bunch of fucking stupid idiots that will probably get victimized by the next Epstein, like every entertainment scene. Entertainers are damaged whores, and they will suck up to power, with the exception of very few people. What I love is, I know, Jimmy, as a guy that cares about his hair like you do, that you are an insecure dude, but you are just honest, so you don't let it do all the other fucks around you. I watched it do to them. I really admire the shit out of that, I gotta tell you.
Well, thank you. I'll take I'll take that as a compliment.
Because I know you do an actual self-reflection, because you have it in you to be like, I don't even know who I would compare it to. One of these failure comics and they're successful, but they disappoint the shit out of me, who are herd animals. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I used to hang out with all of them. They're all herd animals, all of them. The tippy top of comedy, that you would think people who have the power to tell the truth, and they won't. They wouldn't look into COVID. They won't look into Ukraine war. They won't look into anything.
They think that Trump was elected because Joe Rogan spoke to him.
That's right. You're right.
And I want you to know how much I look down on you if you think that. And if
you think Joe Rogan is that powerful, you would think they would be nicer to him. You think that Kamala Harris would have went on his show because he invited her, wanted her on. She wouldn't go. So if you think Joe Biden, I always said that. I always say that about Jill Stein. I always say that about me. If you think we have this kind of power that we can swing elections, then if you really thought that, you would be nicer to us. You would try to sway us. You would try to find ways to appease us and include us. But they do the exact opposite. They try to demonize us and blame us and ostracize us.
You know why?
Which is, if we really had the power, you wouldn't do that.
So basically, someone like Kamala and all these people, when they do this platforming bullshit, I hate whoever came up with that term.
Me too.
I hate you so much.
It has to be CIA.
So instead of like, why don't they ever self-reflect on how they failed? Well, they know that they could never do anything for the people. The plan has always been to curb the population and utterly control them. So they look at it as the low information voter is the most valuable resource. And you have a responsibility to steer the low information voter. We know they're stupid and they don't know anything. Tell them the things we need, because we're the goods. We manipulate them for a good reason. And you want the bad man, but someone's going to manipulate, because some people are always cows no matter what. To us, we're the people up. So elites just think like that. So the crime to them is not lying. It's not, because they all believe in Plato's Republic, these pieces of shit, where the noble lie. And you have an obligation to lie to people in a way that helps me, the noble. They fucking suck. And so they're all these suck up underlings that would easily go to an Epstein Island party and keep their mouth shut, and they saw a kid get fed to fish. All of them go, don't you submit your head to power? I just want to keep my head down and get work. Don't you do that? They all think you should do that, and they don't. And then they go, "What's your angle?"
I don't want any trouble.
That's exactly it.
Oi! I don't want any trouble.
I mean, to talk about China in any kind of bad way, this nation of punks and dilettantes and suck-ups, you ought to be ashamed. You ought to ask China to forgive you, most of you here, you punk ass. What a bitch-ass country America is.
Well, you know what I say to that, Kurt? I think that's very
interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
It's interesting. Oh, you can't hear it. It's too low.
No.
Oh, shit. We got it. It's just Newsom saying it's very interesting.
I love that sample. It's just interesting. I'm just saying.
It's just interesting. I'm just saying it's very interesting.
Well, you know, Jimmy, when you were highlighting Bill Maher and Adam Carolla, you were talking about that. And Bill Maher was acting as if, you know, like he had to go along. Yep. He had to go along, and he didn't even use his platform to push back on anything.
You know, I had to go along. I had to pay rent and travel and pay my bills. I had to. I wish I didn't, too. I wish I didn't. I wish I forged it. I wish I committed a crime and forged it. So much.
All right. How you doing, Jim?
I'm ready.
Okay.
So, you know, this guy is Howard Lutnick. He's the Secretary of Commerce. Mm-hmm. He lived next door to Jeffrey Epstein, and he told a lie. Watch this acting. This is some of the best acting I've seen. Really, I got to say, he's good at this. He's going to lie about not knowing Jeffrey Epstein. Let's watch this.
Jeffrey Epstein was your neighbor. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about him. East 71st Street. He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
So do you see how embarrassed the journalist is just to do her job? I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your friend's PDF file cannibal parties.
I don't even want to ask you this, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least bring up the fact.
I got to at least bring it up. I'd be remiss.
It's fine. I understand.
I have to apologize for doing journalism right now. The only question anybody really cares about, I have to apologize for asking it.
As you know, I'm from bitch-ass New Zealand, the big pharma country.
Well, let's watch. Lutnick's going to take it in stride. Why? Because he's a gentleman. Let's watch.
Jeffrey Epstein was your neighbor. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about him. East 71st Street. He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
All right. So
first of all, let me just, before I let him answer, Lutnick. That name Lutnick sounds like what a disappointed father calls his good-for-nothing son. Look at this lazy Lutnick over here, sleeping all day.
Because he's a Lutnick.
Everybody knows that Lutnick was the first man-made satellite to orbit the planet, right? Wasn't that the Lutnick? No, okay.
Do you know what I just realized when you were playing this, Jimmy? Is I was neighbors with both of them when I lived on 76 and 2nd Avenue.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, they used to live by the comic strip.
Here we go.
Jeffrey Epstein was your neighbor. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about him. East 71st Street. He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
All right. So we are in number 11 and he lives in number 9.
Right.
So we renovate, we buy our house, and our house is pigeons and mice.
Right.
Okay. It was derelict.
Right.
So pigeons and mice, it's probably code word for something horrific. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Our mansion was infested with pizza and grape soda. I'm sorry, pigeons and mice. Did I say pizza and grape soda? Okay, here we go.
So we rebuild our house. We move in 2005. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 08, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. So my wife and I go next door. We walk 7 steps,
yes,
right, to the next house for coffee. We share a wall.
Right.
So it's New York City. So he invites us in. We have coffee in this, and he says, do you want a tour? We said, great.
Interesting.
He's got a really big house.
Every room you went into?
He's got, well, I'll tell you. So his house is like super big, really wide. And so he gives me a tour in the living room, big living room. And then across from it is double doors. I assume it's the dining room.
Yeah.
And he opens the doors and there's a massage table in the middle of the room.
Ooh.
And candles all around.
That's a good story.
So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often do you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say,
And we both pretend not to hear it. And then we decide to ask him, hey, can we go to the island? We'll bring our kids.
Hey, you got any jerky?
Because that's actually what happened. But here's what he says happened. This is what he says happened.
I'm sorry. We have to go.
So he claims that him and his wife both said, I'm sorry, we have to go. As soon as they saw the massage table. That was it. That was it. Okay.
And we left.
And they left.
And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. Really? So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
He's
and
gross.
So I look back at it as a gift.
Yes.
It was a
gift.
gift.
Me a gift.
Yes.
Of avoid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my story. A one and absolutely done.
Right.
One and done.
I mean, that's an incredible story that you could pick up that he was a pervert.
It's gross. The guy's gross.
The guy's gross.
Yeah, genocide's cool with him, though.
The guy who lived right next door to me and would have the ex-prime minister of Israel at his house all the time. Bill Clinton would be at his house all the time. Hillary Clinton would be at his, all kinds of very powerful people. He's this girl. Of course,
Jimmy, can I tell you something?
Yes.
As a guy living in New York for many years, I can tell you no one has more morals and ethics than a Wall Street Jewish guy.
I don't know what Jew says, but here we go.
Right with my wife. Like, he's gross. The guy's gross. This was not, the deep nuance of Howard Lutnick. This guy's gross.
Right. So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
no, they participated.
They participated.
That's what his MO was. Get a massage, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Ever.
Blackmailed people. That's how he had money.
But just to let you know, they said there wasn't a blackmail. So Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, they all said there was no blackmail ring. He just says there was. And he was the greatest blackmailer in history. So that's the Secretary of Commerce, who's actually Trump's handler, telling you that there was a blackmail. But then you go to Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, and they all say there was no ring. There was no blackmail ring. It's all made up.
By the way, these programmer types that are high up like this sack of shit, they only are good at programming. They like this imbecile talking to him. She's easily programmable. You can hear in her voice that he's got her 100%.
So what happened to those videos? Why is there now such a dearth of information when, Donald Trump's people are running the FBI and the DOJ?
I assume way back when they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence, which allowed him to have visits and be out of jail. I mean, he's a serial sex offender.
What they do with him?
18 months and be able to go to his office during the day and have visitors and stuff. It must have been a trade. So my assumption, I have no knowledge.
You're in government.
It was a trade for the videos because there were people on those videos.
And have you talked to Donald Trump about this and shared your theory?
No, I mean, he knows the story.
No, why would I?
But my story, that, I was one and done with the guy.
One and done.
But that's it.
He would have been interested in that story.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's a story. It's just a one and done. That guy.
One and done. One and done. One and done. So
that was what Michael Tracy calls a plausible alibi.
That's what Michael Tracy calls plausible alibi. Yes. So this is he said 2005. Him and his wife went there, and they immediately left. Said we got to go, and they decided they would never talk to him because that guy's a scumbag. He's gross. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, this is 7 years later. On the 20th of November, 2012. Hello, Mr. Lutnick. Jeffrey Epstein understands you will be down in St. Thomas some over the holidays. Jeffrey requested I please pass along some phone numbers to you so the two of you can possibly get together. Any numbers you wanted to pass along to Jeffrey would be great as well. And there's Jeffrey's cell. Jeffrey's office on St. Thomas is FTC. Daphne and Anna are the contacts and are also CC'd here. So that was two. That's to Lutnick. Lutnick actually responds. Did he say, get out of here, that guy's gross? No. Like Norman Finkelstein said and Joe Rogan said. Did he do that? Did he say, no, right, that guy's gross and I'm not going? Oh, here's what Lutnick actually said. Hi, Jeff. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday. So this is now a month later. So that was the invitation was November 20th. This is December 19th. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart's, Anguilla on Monday at some point. Where are you located? What is the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I have another couple, Michael and Marcy Lehman, and they're with me on the boat, and each of us has 4 children, 2 16-year-olds, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, 11, and a 7-year-old. Thanks, Howard. That's 7 years later.
Hey, Howie, it's me, Howie.
And then, yeah, come Saturday or Sunday for lunch. Little St. James is on the map. It's behind Christmas Cove. That was the response. Yeah, come Saturday, come Sunday. And it's called Little St. James on the map. Tell your captain. That's what he's telling him. That's where it is. Tell your captain. It's Little St. James. It's right behind Christmas Cove.
Who's his captain?
I don't know. And then Lutnick responds, okay, lunch on Sunday. See you then. This is 7 years later. One and done. The guy was gross.
So I brought my kids around and my wife.
So I brought another
my friend's
family.
Kids.
Yeah.
Of course, we want to have our kids exposed to him immediately.
Did they still have 4 children and they left? That's my question.
Can we check into that, please?
He just said it a moment ago that he thought the guy was disgusting. Then again, maybe he didn't mean it. It was a bad thing to be gross and disgusting. Maybe that's it. He was gross. Thank God I found another gross guy.
Who are these pious finance people that supposedly exist that I'm supposed to believe that they don't know anything about massages?
Some people love gross, disgusting things, Kurt, and a majority of them are associates of Jeffrey Epstein.
By the way, the massage table in the room is the least gross thing I've ever heard about Epstein.
Me too.
What's gross about it, asshole? How about jerky? You ever look at that one, Lutnick, you scumbag?
Not only that, but Lutnick and Epstein were in business together.
Ew,
they were in business together.
That's disgusting.
So remember he said, I never did business with him. I never did that. Never did nothing but one and done.
Oh.
He was actually in business with him.
A lie in Wall Street, fuck. Who saw that coming?
So this is from CBS News. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said he had limited interactions with Jeffrey. No, he said one and done. But documents show they were in business together as recently as 2014.
Oh, maybe just one pizza together.
Lutnick and Epstein each signed on behalf of limited liability companies that agreed on December 28, 2012, to acquire stakes in a now shuttered advertising technology company called AdFin. Documents released among the so-called Epstein files show. Whoa. Okay. Well, is that a big deal? I don't know. You tell me. So Thomas Massey got a hold of this. He said, it's all one big club and you ain't in it. Epstein sponsored an event held by John Paulson. Was that the Treasury Secretary during the 2008 financial crisis? Was that who's he talking about? So there was an Epstein sponsored and held an event held by John Paulson to honor Howard Lutnick. Epstein sponsored an event that was organized to honor Lutnick. Epstein gave him $50,000 to throw this event. Epstein did. And John Paulson also appears in Epstein's Black Book. The kicker, John Paulson gave $250,000 to defeat Massey. Literally every fat cat after me is in the files. And he said, hope PR is okay. Epstein wrote to billionaire hedge fund manager John Paulson, an organizer of the dinner. Epstein declined to take a table awarded to donors of that level, writing that Lutnick could fill the seats. So here's, hey, Jeffrey, many thanks for your incredible donation in honor of Howard Lutnick. Would you like to take an ad or offer your own words of congratulations to our commemorative journal? Are you able to join us at the event on December 11th? And would you like to take a table inclusive of your generosity? Meaning, hey, thanks for giving us all this money for this party we're throwing for Lutnick do you want a table? And you don't have to pay for it because your donations already covers your table. And he says, so I said, thank you. And he says, 50,000 for me, but hope the PR is okay. So he didn't go. The Epstein didn't go to the party he paid for. Okay.
So Epstein wouldn't hang out with Lutnick, but Lutnick would hang out with Epstein.
Would, yes. So, and please join Howard Lutnick for a reception with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
What? Lock her up?
So there he is, $2,700 per person, by the way, which may sound expensive, but they probably had an all-you-can-eat pizza bar, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap when you think about what
grape soda. So, well, you can call Les Wexner a liar. You can call him a trafficker. You could call him a cannibal and a vampire, but at least he's loyal to his friend Jeffrey Epstein. That's all I'm saying.
You know what I like about him, Jimmy? He's loyal.
He's loyal. So here is Lutnick trying to pass himself off as some sort of whistleblower. If there were any justice, he'd be investigated personally. How'd he end up in such a position of power anyway? Well, because
he
he's
mind controls
Trump. That's right.
He mind controls him. He re-ups the programming when Trump starts to come out of it.
The most damning part isn't that he lied. It's that he constructed an entire dramatic narrative about being disgusted and fleeing, then went back to the island years later with his kids.
He barely got out of there alive. And then he was like, listen, I've got 2 14-year-olds, 2 8-year-olds, not the names of his kids.
That level
to tell the age of each kid.
That level of fabrication under oath should disqualify anyone from public office.
Yo, so if anybody's Lutnick's kid, I would love to talk to you and ask you.
So here they are. So they bring it up to him. So he's got to testify in front of Congress. And
does he giggle?
And they bring it up to him. And let's listen.
Lutnick, I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment. You said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children.
Hey, I don't think he realizes that saying he brought his kids with him to the Epstein Island is not the win he thinks it is. Okay.
And we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife.
You left with all your children? Jeez. You didn't leave any behind as a gift? What a selfish pig you are.
That's why Epstein doesn't come to your things, because you don't bring a gift.
That's right. He must be an anti-Semite.
All together, we were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it.
No, the thing that's untoward is that you made up a whole lie. That's the whole thing, that you lied about it. And you made up a elaborate story about how he was gross to you and disgusted you and how you were one and done. And now we find out that, no, you were actually at the island. You asked to go to the island. You brought your family to the island. And you were in business with him.
Well, it's a beautiful island, Jimmy. I mean.
Yeah.
But,
Mr. Secretary, again, as I said, there's...
So there he is. There he is getting called out. That's fantastic. But watch how when a reporter asks, this is what makes Lutnick so creepy. When a reporter asks him about Jeffrey Epstein, Trump, watch him standing behind, as the handler does, holding that one finger. Watch. Is that some kind of symbol, Kurt? You see how he's standing there? Is that some kind of symbol?
Oh, I actually do not know. But I'm sure it is. But I have no idea what it is, if it is. So but I'm curious now. That's a good thing to fucking...
So watch how he giggles when a reporter asks about Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Watch.
He hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I...
Funny though when you think about it, because every moron that watches Super Bowl and they eat kids, it is funny. You can't blame them for laughing. These guys are funny. You got to give it to them.
He immediately starts laughing at the question about the senior advisors getting together to have a meeting to figure out what to do about the Epstein files. He immediately starts laughing mid-question. Like it's the funniest thing in the world. Watch this.
Be hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
I don't know. I could ask you that question.
What is he laughing at? Why would he be laughing at that question? What's that?
You got away with it. That's I promise
that's
you that's
Duper's
Trump's
delight.
Handler.
That's Duper's delight. That's what
he's
that
a little
is.
more than delighted. That's Duper's orgasm. It looks like.
Yeah. Look at him. Show him. Look at him.
So he puppet controls Trump like a fucking
that's why he's there. That's why he's there, and that's why he's not getting fired over this. It's amazing that there's lots of politicians in the in Europe that are getting in trouble and stepping down over Epstein. Not one person in the United States. Not one of them.
It's a good way to trace the real countries. Not the ones they told you there are, but you can trace by who gets punished probably what the real factions are. Yeah.
So here, Dr. Simon Gudek says, I've been saying it for months and now painfully obvious Howard Lutnick is Donald Trump's handler. Yes, that Howard Lutnick, the guy who survived 9/11 due to his son's kindergarten day. So he didn't go to work at the Trade Towers for Cantor Fitzgerald because he said he had to go to his kid's kindergarten. Isn't it amazing? All those guys who all of a sudden had something to do special that day that they never do any other day.
No, plenty of Jews did die in 9/11, by the way.
That's right.
This guy's important.
His brother did.
Yeah, no, these people are demented fucking people. The fact that 9/11 story is a big deal, Jimmy. That's why when I saw this tweet in the key, I'm like, oh, I don't know how I didn't put it together at all, but I believe in this shit and I don't believe what I believe,
So the guy survived 9/11, the guy who forced an Israeli loyalty test on White House staff, the guy who just happened to be Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor. What are the odds?
And I'll bet you he's above Epstein, too.
Of course. The guy who lied about cutting ties with Epstein in 2005, the guy who visited Epstein Island with his 4 kids in 2012, the guy who thinks covering for PDF files is funny. But sure, keep telling yourself that Trump is in charge.
It was already proven he's not with the Greenland thing that no one asked for except these assholes.
So it must be interesting for Trump to watch his handler come apart on TV. I mean, Trump's got decades of experience on camera. Lutnick was supposed to be hidden in the background. It's like making Lorne Michaels the host of SNL.
Trump is, when you're watching that, I promise you, Lutnick has just got done doing something very similar to, if you ever saw the movie Get Out, very similar to Trump. So Trump is locked in his own head somewhere because this has been done to him since he was a kid. You know how his dad's a piece of shit, right? Remember his brother that was hooked on drugs, and that's why Trump doesn't do drugs?
Right.
What do you think? Why do you think his brother did that? Because he's from one of them generational families. That's why.
So this guy says Lutnick also had the amazing luck to be late to the World Trade Center on 9/11. Imagine being that lucky.
I mean,
and then he pocketed tens of millions of dollars meant for the children and family members of his late co-workers. Even his own brother was sacrificed in the tower. Lutnick is next level.
That's a good way to put it. That guy is real high up, dude, in the thing. That's a good way to put it.
And so this was in the files. Howard Lutnick ran everything, and he maintained a very small circle. Lutnick instructed all of the fraud being committed. He used philanthropy as a smokescreen for illegal activity. Cantor Fitzgerald was not doing well pre-9/11. After the events of September 11th, Cantor Fitzgerald was doing well. Cantor Fitzgerald couldn't afford people's salaries and then was able to hire people and give people opportunities.
Yeah, well, Jimmy, just in my opinion, let me just claim all the things I think. You should look up Gail Pooley, because I think that's who was doing shit to Jordan Peterson. As soon as I found out that a person who, in my opinion, is one of the lowest sexist shit that ever walked the earth, Gail Pooley, he's a fucking Mormon who talks about superabundance. Here's how far right he is. He talks about superabundance. And that motherfucker is named in J.R. Sweet's book about MK Monarch mind control. And the things that Gail Pooley did in that book are so foul. Get J.R. Sweet's book. He tells you about a lot of people. DiCaprio, a bunch of famous people. I didn't believe the shit I read it when I read it 3 years ago. And now I'm seeing it come true, and it's all true.
And if you want to hear my jokes about this, come see me in Lansing, Milwaukee, Albuquerque, Houston, Dallas, Salt Lake City, and Las Vegas. Go to jimmydore.com for tickets. If you go anywhere else, they're going to charge you more. I think we got to go to Rumble now, right?
Okay, hold on. Let me just do something here.
So we're going to hop to Rumble. We're going to have our guest in about a half hour, and everything's looking good.
All right, let me do this. All right, I got that, and it will be pinned.
All right.
We're all good. See you at Rumble.
We'll see you at Rumble. What's that?